Away from the line, Harper has a problem and is pushed off to the side of the grass. Into the lead goes the Devin. Lister in second place and earlier Cooper in third place. Single-seater HWM seen there, a rare sight indeed. The little Sabring Sprite mixing it with the Porsches. The Devin using its car to good advantage. Quattlebaum hurling it through the tight turns here at Zolder. In the background, an early Maserati. Alex Quattlebaum in superb style here, still holding on to that Devin and pushing it hard. Bags of power as it goes past the pits. And the Lister in the background, trying hard to close the gap. This is Conti's 1959 car with the knobbly body as opposed to the Costin body. Lotus leads Porsche. And this is the man that sprung the surprise, David Koch, that actually got the SBRA invited to the Porsche factory to take the car with them to see just why it was so quick. The little 500 Cooper going well. And David Koch treating these twists and turns here at Zolder with considerable respect. But bags of power from the 2-litre flat-4 air-cooled engine. It's interesting that from this successful small-capacity car, Porsche went on, of course, to build the flat 6, the flat 8, and of course the big 917 by the end of the decade that followed on. John Harper stands by the Cooper. Another victim here was Donna Roscoe. A push start relegated him to the pit road and then he couldn't restart the race. So out in front is Alex Quattlebaum with the Devin. And the Lister driver unable to do much about it. Kopf is up to 5th place, but that lead looks reasonably safe for the American in Europe. It's the crowning glory of an immensely successful trip here as far as the Americans are concerned, to come to Zolder with the big Devin and give it its first European victory. That this should fall to Alex Quattlebaum is something that will make the SBRA very happy indeed, since he's done so much to create this into just not a national, but an international organization. Quattlebaum takes the flag, and the Porsche comes through to finish in 5th place. There are few moments in a racing driver's life that can equal those of an international victory. Alex is totally over the moon, and so are the rest of the team. Aside from the cars that were imported into America in the 40s, 50s and 60s to go motor racing with, this is a home-built car that was intended to compete with them. It's interesting that as historic racing has taken off in Europe, so vintage racing has tended to take off in the States as well. Alex Quattlebaum receiving congratulations from his son, his team, and a kiss of victory from his beautiful wife can reflect on how much he and they have done to make vintage racing now an international affair. This year they've come to Europe. Next year it'll be Europe and England. And hopefully in the future, the team and also, of course, the other competitors will have an opportunity to race all over the world. Historic cars are expensive to buy and more expensive to race, but they're better seen on the track from a spectator's point of view, and certainly that's what they were built for, than sitting in a museum. This, under Alex Quattlebaum, is the SBRA's intention internationally. Thus, the obvious question to the amiable Alex was he pleased with his success in Europe?
We really are. It was a fantastic race. I was very fortunate that some of the other fellows were not able to start exactly right, but you take it any way you can get it. It's a great race.
There's a lot of people now who are going to be asking what a Devin is. Can you explain exactly what it is?
It's an American car. It was built as a production car. Built a dozen or 15 of them in between 57 and 59. V8 engine, De Dion rear end with inboard disc. Neat car. And I'd love to bring it over here and to show the Europeans how a V8 engine should run.
By Zolder, the chevron tale of woe had got worse. Michael Amalfitano had gone home, and with the gearbox having been taken down and rebuilt up again, there was just one of the American cars to compete in race 7. This was Dick Leffler, handicapped by the fact that when they changed the gearbox ratios over, they'd put in to second gear what was in fact a fourth gear car, causing all sorts of problems. 31 in the lead is Gerard Burkhardt with his 1969 car. And this is Leffler, going well in spite of his gearbox problems. Brian Redman is one of the leading contenders as far as historic racing is concerned in the States. There they too have a remarkable number of chevrons and of single-seater Formula Juniors and Formula Atlantic cars, certainly equaling those that still remain in Europe. Pressure building up on the leader Burggraff from second placeman Alan Filol with the B19. But it's the beautiful B16 Coupe that wins. Filol in second place, and in third place a fine run by Richard Leffler. So even more success for the Americans in Belgium. If they were having problems, however, with some of their European cars, some of the homegrown products weren't working out so well, as Joe Churchill found out.
That's a lovely Chevrolet over there you've got, but you've had problems with this, I believe.
Yes, this event we've had problems, but in general it's been very reliable.
So you had a good time in Germany though, didn't you?
Fantastic time. We did real well, and considering it was our first time, it was sort of a learning process, and we'll know what to expect next time. We'll be a little bit more prepared.
What sort of differences there between the American form of vintage racing and the racing over here?
Technically, for instance, we have a rolling start, whereas in Europe they have the standing start, so that was all new to us, and that took a little bit of getting used to. The cars that we compete against, the degree of competition, the tracks, they're all different.
So you've really enjoyed your trip over here?
Absolutely, yeah. Looking forward to doing it again.
And I hope the car isn't too bad.
We'll put a new engine in it. We'll be back.
Well, nice to know that American will be back as well, as away we go for the start of the next race, with the Lotus Elan going into the lead here. Innocenti's little yellow car, with behind him the Ferrari number 52 of Fabrizio Villalotta. Getting the best there of number 26, Barry Sewell's 1963 Marcos, fitted with the Ford engine. Superb battle between the Alphas, the Chevrolet there, number 50 going well. That's Richard Taylor's car. And a spin here for the 356 Porsche number 27 of Charles Corcoran. Followed up shortly afterwards with Bob Birrell doing a similar thing with his MGB. And he makes a somewhat leisurely return to the race, owing partially to the traffic, but also to the fact that I think he's getting over the shock. So the MGB accelerates away, and still the battle between the Elan, the Ferrari, and the Marcus rages on. Two more Elans, an E-Type Jaguar behind, and the Cobra going quite well, but not well enough to catch up with that leading bunch. Here comes the Corvette once again. Taylor still holding his position, but finding the big car difficult to handle in the tight turns of Zolder. It looks positively immense in and among the TZ Alphas and cars like the very rare, reliant 1963 car of Emil Robbins there, the Sabre. The Ferrari goes through, having taken the lead briefly from the Elan, who immediately takes it back again. The GTO, arguably one of the most desirable sports cars of all time, and on the grass there and right across the gravel, albeit with just one place lost and returning in front of the MGB only to spin his chances away, is Taylor. He restarts and gets on with the job on this very difficult Zolder circuit. Back in front, it's more pressure from another TZ Alpha. Ginetta now being caught as a Cobra in the background begins to make ground on the big Chevrolet. Still out front, it's the Lotus number 35, however, that's dominating proceedings. Innocente ahead of the Ferrari there. Fabrizio Bealata, the beautiful GTO. Taylor plugging on with the Chevrolet to good measure now. Waves at his pit as he goes by. But the final stages of this race at Zolder, with the Elan a modicum of opposite lock-on taking the checkered flag ahead of the Ferrari there. Weaving under braking, still making the effort to stay ahead even though this is a slowing down lap. At the last corner on the last lap, the Chevrolet spins. Fortunately, no more places lost as Taylor comes up to take the checkered flag and go across the line. And so to the prize giving in Zolder, and a proud Alex Quattlebaum comes up to take his trophy for first place. The American visit to Europe has been an immensely successful one. All of them enjoyed themselves, have vowed to come back, not for 2 race meetings, but for 3 race meetings. Historic or vintage car racing is on the verge of a breakthrough internationally. Aside from the investment potential in historic cars, they have tremendous appeal to spectators and to drivers alike. And the camaraderie is something that motorsport in general seems to have lost as it's become more and more motor racing and the sport element has gone. The SVRA's visit to Europe was a pioneering spirit from over the Atlantic. May it continue to international success.